Hello and welcome to another Thoughts and Opinions video. Like I said last time, we'll be discussing Pokemon again. We'll be discussing Pokemon. Basically, this time it is Generation 2, which housed the games Gold, Silver, and Crystal. And this is where my adventures in Pokemon actually started. In Generation 2. But where is this on the meter for me? It's not number 1, that's for sure. It's not number 1. Generation 2 has its flaws, even though it's probably the game where I'd probably be the most nostalgic about. I probably wouldn't rate it high either. There are only a few other generations that are worse than this. There are only a few other generations worse than this, to be honest, but I'd rank the... I'm just going to rank it already. Jesus Christ. Let's give out what this whole thing is about first. Gameplay vastly improved from the originals. Because this Game Freak's doing better on this time around, and thanks to the former president, may he rest in peace, Satoru Iwata, I think his name was. He helped build the game to what it is, to not only include one region, but freaking two, which has never been replicated ever again in the Pokemon series game, in the main series Pokemon game. So basically, this time you're a 10-year-old kid yet again, exploring the region of Johto this time. But this time you can go back to the original Generation 1 region, which kind of gave it an aftergame to this a little bit. So yeah, that was the basic story, and there still wasn't too much story. Again, you run into Team Rocket and stop them, but still, there wasn't really much of a story there. I mean, Generation 3 is the one that actually started putting a bit of story in there, just so you just wouldn't have just be a kid and try to go do this, go beat the 8 gyms. You're gonna hear a lot of this, to be honest. Go do this, go beat the 8 gyms, go beat the Pokemon League. Oh hey look, 8 more gyms in the Kanto region. Let's beat them as well, they're way stronger. But yeah. Still there wasn't much story, but when you did the Team Rocket parts, they were kind of neat, as they focused on the Lake of Rage and forcing a Magikarp to evolve to the point where the Gyarados was pretty much red, and that was the birth of Shinies in these games. Let's check out what this introduced in this newer version. Well, there was a few things they added on. They brought back the bike, which you can claim in the 3rd town, unlike in the last one, where you could claim the voucher in the 3rd and go to the 2nd just to do that. All you had to do this time, instead of getting a voucher, was just promise the guy you'd ride around and give him an advertisement, because no one could find his stupid shop there, and only a 10-year-old wandered in by accident. But yeah, I think that's a bit better of a mechanic for getting a bike. This thing introduced pretty much a ship that moves too this time, because the last time you could only explore St. Anne. But this time you can just pretty much explore around the ship SS Aqua while going between regions at the same time. So it wasn't too bad. There's also a magnet train that'll take you back instantly. So it was pretty cool. HMs were back, and they weren't permanent anymore. I didn't know if I mentioned that in the last one, but they were like permanent in the previous thing. Which they created a move leader, which you can go to Blackthorn City to remove HMs, which was actually a godsend. Because if you had to teach someone in your party that, oh my god, you would have to delete a move forever, and that slot would never be given back. And that was kind of a bad thing. Gold and Silver were the first 2 versions out, but it was actually pretty neat what they did with this game. They had a new thing with a radio where you could listen to listen to radio stuff now, which was actually pretty neat what they came up with. How they came up with this on the fly. So, it really wasn't too bad. There was a little bit more to do with timed events and all stuff, having you come back daily and just doing shit with the bug catching contests, unlike the Safari Zone, which is a little. The Safari Zone irked me. The bug catching contest was a little better. Well, that's just, like I said, this is all just my opinion. I'm trying to think of what else they had in there. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, I'm counting regions or cities. Yeah, they had Tin Tower, the Burn Tower, but there wasn't too much going on in that. The Lake of Rage crap, which was a pretty little mini story. You went to the Olivine / Sionwood, where you had to go get medicine for Jasmine's Ampharos, which wasn't too bad. And you had the whole Blackthorn thing, and that was about it. Then you went to beat the Elite Four, and that was it. With your rival, who actually happens to be the son of Giovanni, which is actually a pretty nice tidbit, which they'll explore years later down the line for the remakes. But we're not getting into that just yet. Let's see what else. After beating the Elite Four, you can go to Kanto, but there wasn't really much, since it was kind of thrown in there last minute. It wasn't. They really didn't do too much to explore it. Besides having the Thief in Celadon City, take the power plant shit where Zapdos used to be in that former power plant. This isn't too much. And this game encouraged trading a lot, not only with each other, but the previous generation as well, to get every single Pokemon. So if you didn't have like a sibling with an extra Pokemon game, you were kind of fucked on getting them all, because that was kind of a dick move, to be honest. It really didn't suit anyone for that. Let's see. Trying to think of something else. There really wasn't much else that you could do in the Kanto region, but then they gave you the option of heading to, after beating all 8 gyms, head to Mount Silver, which is actually a pretty neat thing, because there's like an extra mountain inside the Hoenn, or not Hoenn, or Johto. An extra mountain near the God damn it, why do I keep saying Hoenn? Near the Johto region there a bit. Why do I want to say Hoenn so much? We're not in Hoenn yet. Well, anyway. And who would be up there pretty much on the top of the mountain? And none other than the biggest surprise of all, spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. If you didn't know this part now, you will know it now. I mean, these games have been out for plus 19 years, so if you didn't know, that's kind of sad. Anyway, what was at top was your previous protagonist character, but in a makeshift party that the devs made for him. It would have been kind of neat if they did like a whole thing where they can actually challenge your own previous party, but no, they didn't do that. That would have been the game a little bit more sweeter, but still. Red, which is the most powerful trainer I've ever seen in any game, and that was saying something, because after you get done, you're like well in the 60s, and Red has 70s / level 81 Pikachu out of nowhere. What the hell? But yeah, this game heavily relied on you to do your daily shit and all that just for trading. And basically, this game is actually, if you wanted to get it done right away, is grind happy. Which isn't too bad back in the day when you had no time, but yeah, nowadays it's kind of harsh by today's standards. The characters weren't much to speak of either, except for Giovanni's son, which you can name anything, but I think his default name is Silver, and he was actually pretty decent a character, to be honest. Going for that jerk that stole Professor Elm's Pokemon, and the guy who pushes you out of the way constantly, to a guy who actually starts to understand his Pokemon after getting a Thrashy from Lance. And, you know, that was something else, to be honest. To see this character go through such a deep character development so early on in the Pokemon series. This is one of the first rare instances where you can actually, where it's actually very good, but still it doesn't save it and put it in a #1 slot, because that was the only thing you could do. Other than that, the gym leaders were one-dimensional again. And with the Cantaliers making a return, and not much had happened. All except for Koga going to the Elite Four and his daughter taking over the gym. But that's about it. There's a total overhaul for the Elite Four too. It wasn't the same as the previous one. A few of them stayed, like Bruno and Lance. And Lance was the champion, rather, instead of your rival, like the last time. Which I guess was kind of okay, but it kind of took the fun out of it. But oh my god, you should have seen the time I went through the game and just beat the entire freaking game with just an overpowered Meganium. It was just ridiculous. Crystal version came out years later and added a few things. They added movable sprites, which was actually kind of a cool thing at the time. It was a revolutionary breakthrough. But they only moved for about like a few seconds. But still, that was the most amazing thing you could ever see back then. And they added Move Tutor, which was actually a pretty decent thing in a battle tower near Olivine, which was, I gotta admit, was pretty damn good, because I spent a lot of time on my sister's game doing that crap. See, the graphics were actually better than the original, too. So the after game was pretty decent, but not too much to write home about. I mean, you could do the entire content region, but other than that, I mean, sure, it's fun, but for a time it kind of loses its luster when you think about it. Now, where do I hold these Johto region, my home region? Where do I hold them up to today's standards? Or what place did they take? What place did they take in the region? In my favorite regions of all time, or my favorite generations of all time. Generation 1 took 6th. And guess what? Generation 2 took 4th. Yeah, there are 3 other games I enjoyed a hell of a lot more than this one. And even though it was, like I said, the game that started it all for me. My original gold version, which can't save anymore, thanks for that, Game Freak. Yeah, thanks for that, Game Freak. Jesus, stupid battery thing. Can't save for crap now. I had to literally download the thing on my 3DS just to have any more fun with my game. But it kind of sucks because it kind of loses all its luster because you can't trade, and my brother refuses to get silver, but that's a me problem, not anyone else's. Well, it's only 4th, and I'd probably give it a 1 point higher than the last one, a 7 out of 10, to be honest. It really isn't that good of a game, but it's something to burn time with. Especially if you just want to burn time and train and do all the stuff that they want you to do in the game. But other than that, yeah, there really wasn't much to it at the end. As soon as you beat the champion, you can take on another region, but as soon as you beat Red, it's over. I would consider post-game to be after the credits, though, so yeah. You can do a whole other region, which was actually new. I mean, it's not the best time I've had during post-game, but it still ranks high. So, 4th and a 7 out of 10 for now. With Generation 1 being a 6 and a 6th place. In pretty much being the 2nd worst region of all time. And trying to Generation 4 slabbing in the middle, or Generation 4, with Generation 2 slabbing in the middle there. Generation 3 will be next time, and we'll explore the Hoenn region. So I thank you for everything. I thank you for listening to my rambling. Remember, these are my thoughts and opinions. You don't have to share the same opinion. In fact, let me know where this Generation 2 ranked in your favor in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell, because you'll never know. Because if you do like and subscribe, you'll never know if I ever upload a video if you don't hit that stupid bell. Alright, next time we'll discuss the Generation 3 Hoenn games. Until the next one, have a good one.